Selling on Amazon is never boring, and this year, 2022, has not been an exception. Our team and I, as an Amazon agency, we stepped back from our day-to-day and looked at the whole year. What has really changed on Amazon? What we have seen worked well? What has gotten better? What has gotten more challenging? And what have we learned that I can share here now in this review with you, so you can be more successful on Amazon in 2023. Make sure you stay through the end of the video because the very last point, I'm going to share a very successful tool that has really given us probably consistently the best return on investment in 2022 when it comes to advertising. Okay, my name is Irina Balurko. I'm a partner at Red Ox E-commerce. Let me introduce myself. And if you haven't liked or subscribed, make sure you do that. Also, I'll put a link in where you can get on our newsletter and receive insights like this in writing form if that's what you prefer. All right, now let's get to it. And I'm going to be looking here at my notes just so you know when I'm looking down. So because there's a lot, it's going to be longer than usual. So make sure that you listen through all of that because all of that is going to help you next year on Amazon. Okay. All right. So the first lesson, so to say, of 2022 is inventory management became more serious. I mean, inventory management is always important, right? Because it helps if you're not in stock, if you don't manage your production, if you don't manage, what you have products to sell, then you can't really sell. And the 2020 pandemic has really made significant interruption in supply chain that we already know, that we're already seeing. And most brands have worked through that, but also it has set almost like a domino effect within Amazon, where Amazon made decision as a business, where it made adjustments to how FBA inventory management is being really pushed on, really constraints added on to sellers on Amazon. This is actually impacts both vendor and seller side. Now, let me give you an example. When I say inventory management had to get serious. In Q4 or late Q3, across the board, Amazon really drastically decreased storage limits. Now, if you know anything about Q4 as you do, that it's really, for most brands, is the biggest shopping time of the year. So it's where a lot of inventory comes into inventory management. And some are, a little bit on brands send a little bit earlier and some send later, September, October, especially if you're just kind of your production is catching up to inventories being sent to Amazon, right? So, and then is really in 2020, it seems that the overall supply management and production interruptions being being out of stock was the main challenge. And this year, it's really being able to keep your inventory in stock and be allowed to send an inventory that you want to send to Amazon. So, this friction in Q4 that I just mentioned really culminated in that, where some brands that, for example, we had scenarios where brands that, some of our clients wanted to send in, let's say, in October because they just finished production for certain important, Q4 items, were not able to because overnight, the inventory some storage limits were slashed. So, this is where we really had to adapt. And this is looking at 2023, you have to really get even more granular and more agile with FBA inventory, if FBA is how your preferred method of selling. So now also, let me read you one of the just a little bit piece from Amazon announcement that just came out in December, where Amazon says, this year we saw some sellers use more of our storage that we expected or believe was needed to serve customers well, and constraints put on products on other sellers to send it to FBA. As a result, we will make updates and create additional granularity in our FBA fees to continue align better with our underlying costs. Read that as you're going to be punished for less than for not serious FBA inventory management. Sorry, I was looking for a specific word there. So you really have to dial in it in 2023. So here's some things, that specific things that we did and started in 2020, but then really leaned into that in 2022 to help you with really managing this kind of the more constraints in FBA inventory management. So first of all, scrutinize what SKUs you send to FBA. Does everything has to, do you have to offer your whole catalog? Lower selling SKUs can be offered maybe merchant fulfilled, perhaps kind of a toggle between sending only best sellers or sending, when you can, when you have limitations. Then sending smaller and faster inventory replenishment. So all of that, of course, implies some of your operational capacity and ability, but toggling between pallets and box shipments where possible, that if that's an option, you would have to, it can really help you to stay in stock. And use hybrid merchant fulfilled and FBA. So merchant as a backup, but it's really, again, it's kind of, I see that now, used to be backup, now it can be more of a toggle really. So all of that speed and flexibility is going to be key for 2023. Speed and flexibility with inventory management. So I never thought that I would spend that much time speaking about this, because it's really not related to, marketing and advertising and, pushing top line. But in some ways I was surprised, but also not surprised that so many conversations that we had with clients, especially later part of 2022, was related to this. Because again, on top of production challenges and rising costs and all the operational business things, then now we layered this constraints from Amazon. So it really was surprising how so many conversations now in that space. So that's a clue to pay attention to that next year. Okay, the second one, e-commerce packaging design is a prerequisite for growing sales on Amazon. Now, often, packaging is, we talk about e-commerce, okay, is it durable? Is it eco-friendly? So a lot of times it's looked from that perspective, but here I want to highlight specifically design, because no secret, when you buy things online, your visual replacing other senses. There's no, nice old lady at Costco giving samples out that you can taste. You cannot pick up that sweater off a shelf and feel it, right? So you cannot really smell or touch. And this is especially critical for CPG, but for other brands. But here I'm speaking specifically to you CPG friends. That is where we had to do a lot of work with clients to really lift their conversion rates. So here, let me give you perspective. Based on our just vast amount of empirical experience, right? We're closing in our 6th or 7th year of, as an agency, helping brands and managing Amazon channel for many brands. Now, if I had to break down how buyers make decisions on Amazon, 90% of the decision making is reviews, images, and price. 10% is everything else. So when you are really refining those product to features copy on Amazon, think about it, that's where 10% of decisions that the buyers make, whether to buy or not, are going to go. I mean, unless you're a super, super technical product. But 90% is going to be reviews, and then price is a factor, obviously, and then images. And with images, I'm going to come back to images actually, because it's become that critical in the last few years, especially. And packaging is often a part of images. Sometimes packaging is within the main image, depending on the product, right? So, but it has, it plays a significant role, huge role in customer decision to buy or not. So, now, what does really mean? And this is where if you sign up, you'll see the image because I'm not going to have time to edit this. So you'll see, we have it before and after or you can check on our website, redrocksecommerce.com, of some of the work we've done where make images more e-commerce friendly. But while we can do a lot with refining images for product pages and stuff like that, we can't really change packaging, right? So it's only so much we can do. That's why you as a brand think through how your packaging will be designed. Is it e-commerce friendly or not? Is it easy to read? Are colors, do colors pop up? Is there enough? Is the right combination between symbols and letters and images and so on? So all of that. I'm not a brand designer, but basically it's just to say that work with somebody who can help you make e-commerce friendly design for packaging. All right, the next one. This is so true. This is so evergreen, and it still has to be mentioned, especially because of the macro events that took place in the last couple of years. Business fundamentals continue to be reinforced. Now, 2020 happened. A lot of things were out of the window in terms of planning. A lot of things were out of control. And now, first we had pandemic. Now we have rising costs. There is inflation. The businesses are working through, the challenges on the P&L. We have seen that the brands that fared the best, and then we've been able to help to really capitalize on these unpredictable events of COVID and whatnot, is the ones that really had their fundamentals in place already. Business fundamentals that have nothing to do with Amazon, that has nothing to do with pandemic or inflation or whatnot. So those are the things that we can adapt more to to a certain extent, but there's a lot of things we cannot control. What can you control, right? So here's what I mean by fundamentals. So your product, right? Your product, yes, it's a quality and consistency of what you promise to deliver. How your brand shows up in the world. And it's not necessarily this intricate marketing, but it's really, again, the consistency and simplicity and staying true to nature of you as a brand. How you talk to your customers. What is customer experience regardless of the channel? How you resource your team, how you resource your business, and how you treat your team. So all of those things that seem, my gosh, I almost forgot. How you manage your cash flow and overall fiscal management. How you build that, how you manage that. All of that is true no matter what. But when we had things that were thrown to us and unpredictable, all of that fundamentals are reinforced, and also often is what helps you work through the challenges. So, I always remind myself, I keep that in mind myself as a business, but also why I'm sharing that, because the businesses that really in the last, couple years that came out of pandemic stronger than before, are also the ones that paid attention to those fundamentals. Okay. So while business fundamentals were reinforced, also knowing your margins was reaffirmed as well. Now, knowing your margins is great advice. You got to know what your profit is, and you have to have profit to do well as a business, to function as a business. But here's a couple things that 2020 in review that we really that reinforced for us, reaffirmed. One, as my business partner Megan says, sales can cover a multitude of sins, but they do not always produce profit. We had a boom of investment overcapitalization in the last probably even like 10 years, right? And we've learned through seeing some very fast success of some brands, but then also a crash, that fast sales velocity doesn't always produce profit. So scale doesn't necessarily produce profit. So that's point one. Sales can cover a multitude of sins, but sales do not always produce profit. And point two, so because one of our biggest values is helping brands to understand their Amazon P&L first. So before even working on improving that alongside with sales growth, meaning it's a step to understand your Amazon P&L is really key to knowing your margin, so you can work on improving that. Growing profitably is a hard thing to do, and because often what we want to grow top line, we want to optimize your profit, but really usually we're pulled in this or that as a singular focus. We're either focusing on the top line or we're focusing on the profit optimization or optimization of business. It's really, we like to think that we can do both, but honestly, if you truly think about it, if you get honest, you're doing one or the other. Truly focused on that. So, and Amazon is a hard channel to be profitable on already. And then, not just because of fees, not just because of hyper competitive environment, but then also now we have rising inflation. So, and that's, the costs are rising. So, also, just as a side note, if you are kind of learning how to work on, how to operate in Amazon, you probably follow a lot of content. And a lot of times, our peers who I respect, a lot of, Amazon experts will talk a lot about sales. You don't hear a lot of conversation where sales is always alongside with profit. So we made a decision to really focus on helping brands grow profitable on Amazon, even though it's hard, it makes us more accountable, but it's also, it's really becoming, for long-term success, that's really a must. So we want to do what's long-term for brands and for ourselves as a business. So yeah, just kind of a side note if you pay attention to other content, Amazon content out there. So now, if you can give me if you're selling on Amazon, okay, here's a question for you. If you can give me your Amazon profit percentage, even before I finish saying the sentence, then you can just kind of skip to the next point. So what's your Amazon bottom line after everything, after your COGS and everything? It's 10%, it's 15%, is it 25%? But if you don't know this, here are some key points for you to start understanding your margins on Amazon. So first and foremost, it's what I'll never stop preaching really when it comes to Amazon, understanding have solid single SKU economics. Know your single unit economics. Here's your price on Amazon, here's the fees, here's your COGS, and here's your margin. So ideally, when I say solid, ideally you want to have at least 60%, 60 gross margin, when it comes to Amazon, because then with fees and everything, so your net profit obviously going to be smaller, but this is kind of, if you're starting less than that, it's really hard to be profitable just with isolation on every single SKU. The second, understand Amazon transactional structure. It goes hand in hand with fees. There's a referral structure, there's a referral fee, there's a VA fees, they differ based on product dimensions, so understanding all of that. Next, how much does it cost you to acquire a customer on Amazon? And this is looking at mostly SEO advertising, right? Is it $30? Is it $25? Is it $50? What does it take? So you need to know that number, especially if you are in consumables. Again, consumables, my friend, consumables. Know how many times customers come back to buy. It's a repeat buyer rate, really, because then you know their lifetime value, right? So last but not least, overall SKU performance. It's really multifaceted kind of analysis. Is a SKU performance based on marketing, based on single unit economics, based on your COGS, based on your FBA inventory management, right? Again, because you may not be able to sell all of your catalog at any given point on Amazon. So SKU, having that SKU performance understanding across those categories is key. Now, even if that sounds overwhelming, it doesn't have to be done all at once. Amazon actually does now provide more information on how to pull that data. So we used to do a lot of this through Excel spreadsheets, but a lot of that Amazon discloses, and a lot of that then you overlay obviously with your business info, and that will help you move along that journey first, understanding, and then really optimizing for profit. Okay. Next point, Amazon in review 2022. If you have not liked, if you're not subscribed, please do that now. I do my best to share meaningful content without, the hyper sales pitch, and really true and really direct. So I want to be transparent. So this really helps me if you click subscribe or like. Okay, the next point. Amazon Seller Central tools and resources have gotten more competitive, but meaning actually being more useful. Now, this is a shocker because the overall platform, right? We usually operate mostly in seller, although some vendors. So here I'm speaking more from a seller because that's where a majority of our life is, Seller Central. It's really interaction with the platform, just the features and tools, navigations, the user experience has gotten a lot better. So here's a perspective also. In the early days of Seller Central, when we're still young, right, as an agency, we had to have so many tools, additional third-party tools, just to close gaps of data when it comes to marketing or reimbursements and keyword research, all of that. And over the last years, Amazon has really accelerated releasing features that are helpful, that replacing those tools. So now we're down just kind of with the most essential suite, of visual and content creation, help and keyword research and PPC reporting. So the two main areas that we have seen Amazon actually give something useful when it comes to tools and resources is advertising capabilities. Most of that is really around video advertising, because that really shows you where Amazon sees the effectiveness of it, right? And also Amazon would really help sellers to make it easier for them to do something that it doesn't profit Amazon, right? So of course they're going to make it easier for you to do more advertising so you can bring more money to the platform. But on the flip side, if you know what you're doing, if you have a strategy and tactical expertise, then that truly helps you to have better selection from advertising capabilities and reporting. That's actually also key. Really cuts down on, again, on third-party tools, and also the amount, like our advertising manager always jumps up and down when there is, keyword search terms tool has been released where she now doesn't have to spend hours and going through Excel spreadsheets. And then also in the marketing, sales, and growth is another area is brand-related analytics. This is for brand-registered brands, which is really a must on Amazon right now if you want to be successful going forward. So, you should have that already. It's in your dashboard. It's really insights into customers, some keyword data, some competitiveness of your SKUs, some SKU performance. So, again, repeat buyer that I already mentioned earlier. So that really helps you make decisions and allocate your marketing across different SKUs and kind of understand how customers interact with your brand on Amazon, both from viewing and buying perspective. Now, the second area I want to kind of touch on is the operational account management. It's the nitty-gritty that is, still need to get that done, right? So the first two I actually also related to inventory management. So this is the first one is FBA inventory reconciliation, where Amazon actually has gotten better at not losing items at receiving FBA shipments. Or mislabeling inventory. So that actually has become helpful. So we can see that there's just the mismatches reconciliation is now really down to, it's not as frequent as it used to be. And the second one is FBA inventory planning, where you can actually use Amazon Seller Central to do some inventory planning. It's not perfect, right? I wouldn't rely on that 100%, but it's actually useful. For some, FBA replenishment planning. All right, and the last one is the account health. Just overall, there's more insights on how you function as a seller. So I think it's just, it helps be more proactive. Now we feel that it helps us to be more proactive to avoid any type of dings on account performance and slaps and so on, and going to account your risk of deactivation, all of those scary messages. So just overall, that's become very helpful. So that is that. Also, all of that, it's kind of the yin and yang, where Amazon will make it more helpful and easier for brands to stay on a platform and to pull data and to be more really integrated within Amazon and to stay on a platform from the kind of the back end of it, because for things that really Amazon finds beneficial, that it helps Amazon, aka sell more, make more money in fees, make more money in ads. So It's kind of the irony of it, but it's really, you got to leverage that. And because we are an Amazon Advertising Partner Network, so we have even more opportunities to kind of work with Amazon and see more data. So not everybody has access to that, understand, but it's kind of to show you that Amazon is interested in helping brands. I know sometimes hard to believe it, but they are interested in helping brands be more selling Amazon more sustainable, more long-term. So Amazon, again, can make money. I just have to say that at the end. All right, so while tools have become Seller Central, tools have become, this is what I'm moving on to point 4, Amazon and review. So Amazon tools, Seller Central tools have gotten helpful, more transparent, but on the flip side, seller support has now fully moved in a do-it-yourself model, self-serve model. Now, if you have experience communicating with Amazon seller support, I mean, you probably know by now that it's even harder than raising your children. It's frustrating. It's a constant lesson. It's persistence and patience and so on. So in the glorious days of early days, I don't know the glorious aspects of it in a lot of ways, you could raise a ticket to Amazon seller support and you receive a human response and they actually help you resolve your issue. Like you had a feeling that you interacted with humans. That feeling has gone really away. Now we even joke, so I mean, I don't know if it's a joke, that there is eventually, it's going to be completely AI, right? Seller support. So there's not even going to be humans pushing buttons at some point. But over the years, Amazon has kind of been eradicating the human level, any type of custom touch, right? Custom answer to your actual answer. So, and really created more help resources, help articles, help videos, information where they push you to be more self-serve, right? So do it yourself. So, and also on the vendor side, the vendor managers is really like a dinosaur nowadays. It's such a rarity, and even if you get one, they often transition internally, so they kind of move on. So Amazon we made improvements, operational checks and balances, and the tools and data releases, but also really creating a lot of help articles and videos. That means that right now it really shifted to the mindset that brands need to have, where seller support there is not help you solve your problems, but to guide you in finding solution yourself and executing in that solution within Amazon, your Amazon channel. So that's a big shift, right? It's because it makes it time consuming and frustrating, and it really becomes, for us, we can't have somebody being that almost full-time job, right? But most brands, if you manage in-house, you don't have that luxury. So, now I have to say as a caveat that Amazon does provide more human interaction, more support, more reach out to brands in the initial onboarding phases. And it usually has to do around, we want more sellers in Amazon, we want more brands in Amazon, we want them to invest in marketing. But then as you grow and start experiencing, start really getting into day-to-day and running into issues, kind of that support really wanes. So that is kind of, I have to caveat that. So here's some kind of how to manage your expectations in 2023 and beyond and work with seller support if you are not working with somebody like ourselves that takes that 100% fully away from your plate, right? So from the get-go, if you're interacting with seller support, set expectations that will be multiple rounds of communications. Things never get done from one round. It's been a while that I can even remember that. Be very specific, be very direct, and do talk like you were talking to a 5-year-old. Do not be rude, but be direct. Number of pleases will not help you. So screenshots, exact details, all of that. So because then you can really narrow it down. Give me a specific answer to what I just asked you very, very directly. Sometimes we switch between email support and chat support. Sometimes chat is less frustrating, so that's just a thing, right? To keep in mind, and just be more persistent. And just for perspective, we are obviously Amazon experts, but on some more complicated issues around product restrictions, unfair product restrictions, brand control, or some kind of a minutia of this like complicated catalog issue, we've had, sometimes months taken to successful resolution. Sometimes I feel like Amazon is really, it's like almost like a Darwinism principle, where they just want to see how fast you give up, and then just interact with those that don't give up. So keep that in mind. It's not you, it's Amazon. All right, now let's move to more exciting things where we're talking about the top line. The next Amazon in review lesson or point is, which would be number 6, success metric of advertising has now completely moved from ACoS to TACoS. Now, ACoS, advertising cost of sales, TACoS, total advertising cost of sales. So I'm not going to go into explanation. You can look up those terms if you're not familiar with them yet. But ACoS used to be metric that could, in Amazon, again, early days, be the main metric kind of looking at your success of your advertising, because Amazon was less competitive. There was just average CPC was less, cost per click was less. There weren't, there were these kind of waves of when, so other social media platforms advertising that sometimes pushed with their updates, Apple Dates, whatnot, sometimes pushed that right to Amazon. There were those waves coming from outside, from other platforms of institutional ad money. And all of that democratization of the platform, more access sellers, or more lower bar to entry for new sellers, all of that just pretty much added to rising costs of advertising. When we literally say how much it costs you to advertise has decreased regardless of your product, regardless of product or category. So, and then to keep it even more interesting, in 2022, Amazon came out with sponsored display capability for brands that do not even sell on Amazon, or non-endemic brands, meaning that even if you don't sell on Amazon, you can still advertise on Amazon through a sponsored display. Oh, well, let's welcome more to the party where Amazon makes more money, right? So it just makes it interesting. So all of that is really, there's already always been from the beginning underlying premise of Amazon algorithm where your organic and paid traffic interacts. Success of your paid traffic impacts your organic search results, and then also they go back and forth, and they impact themselves negatively. If your ads perform not great, conversions is terrible, either you're going to start getting suppressed in organic search results. So that already was from the beginning that really made sense to look at TACoS, total advertising cost of sales, as the holistic measure of success of advertising. But all of these other things I've mentioned, it's really pushed that even more. Now, last but not least, I want to say that Amazon also opened doors to incentivizing. So listen to this if you're not doing this already. Amazon incentivized brands to push traffic to Amazon from outside by giving brand referral bonus. So, for example, we do that for all the clients that, let's say, for example, do Facebook ads, or they drive from their website app. So where Amazon gives a discount on seller fee for traffic and that comes from outside of Amazon. So I mean, it gives you a little bit back to that profit margins, right? So really, we still look at ACoS. Clients still do look at ACoS. You should look at ACoS, but it's really become such an isolated metric to look at that we really, really more push to look at TACoS. Or sometimes I feel like we are educating our clients to really look at TACoS, because then we can have a more holistic understanding of true performance on Amazon, and also what's happening of Amazon that impacts the brand on Amazon. All right, going to number 7, I believe, Amazon interview in 2022. Again, if you haven't liked or subscribed, please do that. And you can also, there's a link in the comments where you can subscribe to our Amazon Insights newsletter, where you can receive this in writing if you're more visual than audio. Okay, the next one is content visuals trump copy. Visuals lead copy. Now this is kind of by that visuals we mean, right? We mean images, we mean video. All of that is really becoming leading in tool in improving the conversion rates and leading to more sales. So we know images are relevant for Amazon. Shoppers look at images. Shoppers look at video. Use video. So we have, because we are led by results often in where we put our time and attention, right, in our work, we really now spend a lot of time on the visuals, because we've seen that sometimes all we need to do is tweak and improve images, add infographics, do, other content work and, or visuals, work. And then we see conversion rate with, if we, assuming no other variables have been changed. So also, wording has become a lot more restricted, because I think rules by Amazon around words copy words. I think with COVID, where there was all this, the antibacterial, antiviral, there's a lot of claims that have been made. So Amazon just kind of really cracked down on that. So now we feel that there is more restrictions on words, but there is actually more space to be creative visually. So that's kind of interesting, where we're now it's kind of almost like the opposite direction. We can do so much with copy, but now modules are changing in A+ and Storefront, and we really can create more story driven and more visual and better selling through those assets. And while we still need to have copy and keywords for algorithm, and some people do still read product pages, but it's really become less relevant, believe it or not. So necessary, but just less critical. Now let me give you a couple visual when I say visuals lead copy. So you should work on visuals before you even work on copy. Here I'm giving you two specific examples. Majority of sales on Amazon happen on mobile, right? The phone that I'm looking at right now, what do, right? We all shop often on our phone. I don't remember the last time I bought something on Amazon on a desktop. So for example, in Amazon app, buyer app, right? So the way Amazon displays images, when you click on the product page, you can, displays images in search results. First of all, let's talk through search results. When you pull, looking for a red shirt on Amazon, search results, now you can swipe. Same as social media, right? We're swipers nowadays, we're not readers. You can swipe through images before you can even click into a product. So that really kind of, that already your customer, potential customer makes decision. Do they click and go into your product page and click buy, or do they go to the next search results? So your images are coming first, right? Second is also an app, Amazon Shopping app, rearrangement of A+, where it used to be, you have bullet points, and then below the fold, used to be below the fold, you will see images, so you had to scroll. Now the A+ is showed before the bullet points. And what is mostly an A+? If you, or at least you should have most in A+, you should have images, because that's what sells, okay? If you have too much copy, got to work on that, remove copy, add more images. So now, and when you look at A+, in the product pages, your A+ will show before you go to bullet points. What does that mean? Customers already made decisions looking through your images before even reading about your product features, which again, going back to the point, spend more time on images, because that's what sells, and videos, and less time on refining copy about your granular product features and benefits. So, all right, now we are coming up. I have, as I promised earlier, I have Ace in Your Hand, something that's could give us a consistent return. returns on Amazon advertising. So ace in your hand. In example, I'm going to link a video that a few weeks ago we had 70x return on investment using this tool. And consistently we get up to 7, I would say 5 to 7x return for this specific type of advertising. So this is why I say it's ace in your hand. And that is your video advertising. Specifically here I'm talking about sponsored display videos within Amazon. So it's not really, if you know anything about e-commerce, videos has been really big, and social media really kind of retrained us, right, in our behaviors, unfortunately. And as a savvy company, Amazon is led by what how customers react, how they buy. So now, you know, Amazon is giving more space, more video capabilities, more data into how video ads work, because it generates more clicks and keeps customers on the platform, make them buy. So video ads will just continue to grow within Amazon ecosystem. So we have been doing video ads for clients for years, even before in the beta, through our Amazon, because we're partnering the Amazon Advertising Partner Network. So, but in the last year, we're really double down on that. We're really spending a lot more time on that because it's that effective. So, and sometimes I refer to it jokingly as a secret tool, because sometimes when clients come to us that are already selling on Amazon and they're doing advertising and they're not doing videos, and I'm shocked that in 2022, especially they came from another agency, there's no video ads, because it's absolute must. Does every video ad going to be successful and give you 70x return on investment? No, but you absolutely have to test it. You have to find it works, because again, in spite of, you know, regardless of the category, across multiple categories, across multiple price points, we have seen it to be consistently perform better than other types of keyword-driven advertising. So, all right, that is ace in your hand, video advertising. So this is Amazon in Review 2022. This has been absolutely the longest video ever, but I really hope this was helpful. Again, like or subscribe. We are focused on helping brands grow profitably on Amazon in 2023. So if that resonates, then come to our YouTube channel for more videos in future, or find us at redrocksecommerce.com, where you can contact us if you need help on Amazon. All right, take care. Happy holidays if you're watching this in December, and talk next year.